Hi friends, Steve here, once again at Eden Memorial Park here in Mission Hills, California. And if you're a fan of the TV show, the classic TV show, Dark Shadows, I think you're going to enjoy today's visit. You may remember that I was just here last week, and when I was here, I didn't realize that the person I'm visiting today was buried here, and that kind of happens to me a lot. But I'm back, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that it's another really beautiful, nice blue sky day. Thanks for joining me on another trip to visit the most memorable cemeteries, memorials, and gravesites. Back when I was still in college, my good friend and roommate Fritz was a huge fan of the TV show Dark Shadows. At the time, I had never seen a soap opera, and I really wasn't into the supernatural, so I didn't really understand his interest in the show. I get it now, all these years later. Unfortunately, my friend Fritz is no longer with us. He died back in 1993 at the young age of 39. So today I'm visiting the gravesite of Dan Curtis, the creator of Dark Shadows, and I'm doing it for my old pal Fritz. If he were still alive, I'm sure he would be with me here today, but maybe he's here in spirit. I sure hope so. To find Dan Curtis's gravesite, you enter through the front gates and drive straight ahead up to the top of the hill, and then make a right-hand turn right in front of the mausoleum. You then drive straight until you see the Mount Olives Eternal Gardens section on the right-hand side. It's clearly marked on the curbside. Curtis died from a brain tumor on March 27, 2006 in Brentwood, California at the age of 78. His popular American Gothic soap opera about the supernatural was called Dark Shadows and aired from 1966 to 1971. The series featured ghosts, werewolves, zombies, witches, warlocks, and assorted other monsters, and ran in syndication for nearly 40 years. With Halloween right around the corner, I thought this would be a good time to visit the gravesites of as many of the cast members from Dark Shadows as I could find here in California. I'm happy to report that some of the cast members are still alive. Nancy Barrett is now 75 years old, David Selby is 78 years old, and David Hennessy is 62 years old. Unfortunately, some of the other cast members who have passed away have been laid to rest on the East Coast. Grayson Hall died in New York at the age of 61, Joan Bennett died in Connecticut at the age of 80, and Jonathan Frid, who starred in the show as vampire Barnabus Collins, died in Ontario, Canada. Frid died on April 14, 2012 at the age of 87. He was cremated, and the location of his ashes are unknown at this time. The only other cast member that I was able to find buried here in California was actor Christopher Bernell. He was cremated, and his ashes are interred at Santa Barbara Cemetery in Santa Barbara, California. And I'll show you his final resting place next. I got here to the cemetery at 7:30 a.m. They opened up early, I guess. I don't think they usually open until 8 o'clock. Came up to the top of the hill here. There's no one else in the cemetery, really, but me and a few people that work here. And as soon as I found Dan Curtis's final resting place, pulled out my camera, and a car pulls up and parks right next to his gravesite. And I'm like, how does this happen? Like every single time, almost every single time I visit someone's gravesite. It's just bizarre, I think. What do you guys think? Do you think it's bizarre as well, or is it just me? I mean, this is just, I could see it if it was the middle of the day and there were hundreds of people here visiting the cemetery, which is, it's a Sunday, so that would make sense. But it's 7:30 on a Sunday morning. I'm the only one here in the cemetery, except for the other person who pulled up and parked right next to where I was standing, right next to where I was filming Dan Curtis's final resting place. So how many of you are fans of Dark Shadows and Dan Curtis? And are you surprised too that he's buried here? When you expected him to be buried in some Gothic cemetery in Boston or Massachusetts or Maine or something? Some of you may remember that I visited actor Christopher Bernau's cremation niche last year here at Santa Barbara Cemetery. But for those of you who didn't see that video, I thought I would include part of that visit here today. Bernau's character Phillip Todd appeared on Dark Shadows from 1969 to 1970, but soap opera fans will also remember him for his character Alan Spaulding on the soap opera Guiding Light from 1977 to 1984, and then again from 1986 to 1988. His cremation niche is located just inside the front gates to the right in the courtyard of the mausoleum in the Pines. After you enter the courtyard, it's on the first wall to the left. According to his Wikipedia page, he died from a heart attack as a result of complications from AIDS. He was born in Santa Barbara on June 2nd, 1940, and died June 14th, 1989, in New York City at the age of 49. In addition to creating Dark Shadows, Dan Curtis also directed the cult horror movie classic Trilogy of Terror, starring Karen Black. Black is laid to rest here at Eternal Hills Memorial Park in Oceanside, California, which is within San Diego County. To find her gravesite, you enter through the front gates, drive past the fountain that you see on the left-hand side, up the hill, and all the way back, almost to the very back of the cemetery. Her gravesite is located in the Garden of Protection. So I just added a GPS to Karen Black's gravesite. The cemetery is well marked as far as having signs letting you know what section you're in, but the sections are pretty large and they're not marked very well. I found a couple of little markers with numbers giving you an idea where you are, but they're so overgrown with grass that you almost need clippers to clip around to see what the numbers are, so they weren't helpful at all. So that's Karen Black's gravesite right behind me, and she, over the years, became a very popular cult horror movie icon. I believe she was in more than 150 movies during her long and really incredible career. But she appeared within those 150, 60, 70 movies she was in. She appeared in quite a few horror films, or, just scary movies, thrillers. And just to give you a better idea of where her final resting place is located, the ocean is just on the other side of those hills that you see there, about 5 miles or so west. Black also happened to be one of the stars of director Alfred Hitchcock's very last film, Family Plot. I saw it when it first came out in 1976, and then I just watched it again a couple of days ago. It's a detective thriller with lots of twists and turns, and Black does a great job as always, but my favorite scene in the movie involves actress Katherine Helmond. It's a pretty memorable scene and definitely got my attention. Her character, Mrs. Malone, kicks over a gravestone in a cemetery. In real life, that would be pretty shocking and probably a crime, but in the film, she has a good reason to do it, and I don't want to spoil it, so you'll just have to watch the movie to find out why. You might remember that Helmond died earlier this year on February 23rd in Los Angeles at the age of 89. According to findagrave.com, her burial details are unknown at this time. If any of you watching happen to know where she's buried, please let us know in the comments section below. Fans of the actress will remember her as Jessica Tate on the TV sitcom Soap, and later as Mona Robinson on the TV sitcom Who's the Boss. And according to her Find a Grave memorial page, she sadly died from complications related to Alzheimer's disease. Black died August 8, 2013 in Santa Monica, California from ampullary cancer at the age of 74. In addition to her horror films, she appeared in some of the most critically acclaimed and popular movies in Hollywood history. In 1970, she was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in 5 Easy Pieces, and was nominated and won many other film awards during her long career. Now, for those of you who are interested, I'm going to head from the cemetery down to Oceanside Beach. And if you make it to the end of this video with me, I have a funny dark shadow surprise that I'm going to share with you. And the reason I'm heading to the beach today is to visit my daughter and son-in-law and grandkids, who are all staying at the Paradise by the Sea Beach RV Resort. We're going to hang out at the beach for a while, and then we're going to head back to the cemetery to do some more exploring for some future vlogs. Are any of you RVers? Have any of you stayed at this RV park? Earlier in this video, I mentioned my old college roommate and friend, Fritz. And being here at the beach in San Diego County reminds me that when we were roommates, our apartment was right on the beach in San Diego. That seems like 100 years ago. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about visiting cemeteries and doing these trips down memory lane, is that they bring back so many good memories of things I haven't thought about in years. They want to get those birds, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do.
Between the RV resort and the beach is this beautiful park, which seems to be very dog friendly. which is good since the grandkids both have a dog. Southern California is known for its surfing, but at least today, the bicycle riders seem to be outnumbering the surfers. It's not hard to see why they call this Paradise by the Sea. And this is just one of the hundreds of awesome beaches here in California. I really consider myself very fortunate to have called a few of them home over the years. I think this is the commuter train that goes right through one of the cemeteries in San Diego. I'll show that to you in a future vlog for all of you train lovers. And I've even visited a few cemeteries that are right on the beach or overlooking the ocean, and I'll show you those in future vlogs as well. While cemeteries are my favorite places to take trips to the past, antique, collectible, and memorabilia shops are also pretty awesome time machines. And this one, called the Sea Hive, happened to be right next door to the Paradise by the Sea RV resort. So, you know, we couldn't resist taking a stroll back in time down the aisles. And what are the odds that the only TV memorabilia that I spotted would be from Dark Shadows? So if you enjoyed today's visit to the cemetery, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done that. Just click the bell icon, you'll be notified whenever I upload future videos like this one. And if you did enjoy this video, you might enjoy these videos here as well. So until next time, thanks for sharing the memories, everyone.